Hi, Tiger Craven Neely. 30 years teaching in California, 1993 to 2024, minus a year for sabbatical, which I got my bucket list. I went and got my master's in counseling, psychology counseling. It took me 3 years part-time school and 1 year of full-time internships. Anyway, I am gay. I am retired. I think it's so important to share LGBT curriculum and materials in the classroom because we are part of the population. We're a constant percentage. 100 babies in China, Russia, United States, doesn't matter where. If you watch those babies throughout a lifespan, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, around, I think it's 3 to 7% will eventually identify as LGBT. Unless they're suppressed, unless you're in a country where they punish people, then we probably have people who have the feelings. Indonesia, yesterday I was reading, 2 LGBT young men were caught hugging and kissing, and now they have 80 lashes. So anyway, we have a constant in our society. It's a natural variation, just like being left-handed. It's not something people are choosing. If it's not something we choose, why are we being punished? Why are people acting like it's a perversion? It's not a perversion. It's natural. It's natural. Excuse me. I have dry mouth, so I have to do that. Excuse me. So these are amateur videos, but they don't cost anything. My goal is to read a story or two, talk about my experience as a gay teacher, and then share reminders about some laws. Certainly not a professional. I don't do this for a living. I would like to. I would love to go talk to schools. If you're an administrator and you want me to come visit, I'm on the internet. I think it'll be easy to find. Give me a call. Give me an email, and I'll come talk to your school. Anyway, I want to read a little juxtaposition. I'm going to read 2 books that are intended for younger kids. Then I want to talk about some microaggressions that I've experienced working at the high schools. I'm not angry at the high school. This is a very good high school that I'm thinking of. It just shows my experience and the issues that they still need to work on. It shows that probably in most California schools, there are issues regarding microaggressions, injustices toward LGBT. Anyway, let me get started reading. Mama, this book is called Momma and Me by Leslea Newman, illustration by Carol Thompson. And what it is, as you can tell, a lesbian couple, and one is referred to as Mommy and the other is Mama. Mommy picks me up. Mama pours juice in my cup. 2 moms. Mommy gently combs my hair. Mama rocks me in her chair. Mommy packs a yummy snack. Mama rides me on her back. And I think I shared in another video, probably a couple times, my coworker Mary is teaching 3rd grade. She came to me and she said, Mr. C, I have a student being teased because she has 2 moms. Probably the students found out at back to school night. Or the neighborhoods, kids at that school, it was a small school, same cohort of students would spend 1st grade together, 2nd grade together, 3rd grade together, and so on. So they really knew each other very well. She said she's being teased. I brought in some LGBT books. I think the teasing has stopped, so that's good. 2 moms in real life. Mommy and I go around and round. Mama and I slide to the ground. Mommy and I count 1, 2, 3. Mama hides behind a tree. Mommy hugs me on her lap. Mama lays me down to nap. Mommy lets me help her cook. Mama helps me read a book. Mommy puts me in the tub. Mama bathes me. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Now I'm tucked in nice and tight. Mommy and Mama kiss me good night. I think I also shared a story one time how when I was teaching junior high, in my after school, I was prepping, but the after school program borrowed my class. They needed space. And I have lots of friends who are lesbian, trans, okay? One of my lesbian friends' son was in the after school program, and he was in my class. Unfortunately, in that situation, the kids were saying the word faggot back and forth. And anyway, that's another story. But my point is, another lesbian, a child in public school with lesbian parents. We're out here, 3 to 7% of the population. I want to read another book. All Kinds of Families, similar theme, by Suzanne Lang, illustrated by Max Lang. Excuse me. Some children have lots of siblings. Some children have none. I had 3 siblings, or brothers and sisters. Of course, you would say that to your students. But I had 3. 2 brothers, sisters. And I remember when I was experiencing some LGBT issues in my life, my brother and my sister flew. Well, my sister flew from out of town. My brother drove from out of town, and they were there for me. So be there for your siblings. Some children have 2 dads. Some have 1 mom. Some children live with their grandparents, and some live with an aunt or aunt. Tomato, tomato. Some children have many pets, and some just have a plant. Some children live with their father, and some children have 2 mothers. Some children were adopted. Some have stepsisters and brothers. All these different families bring back lots of memories of my students who had many, many different varieties. A variety of different families. Some children bunk with their cousins. Some have a mom and pop. Some children's parents are married. Some children's parents are not. So no matter if you have a ma, a pa, a hog, this llama, ten frogs and a slug, a cousin named Doug, a great-grandma Betty and a great-aunt Sue, uncles Hal, Al, and Sal, and Uncle Lou too. Wow, this is a great book. Lovely illustrations. I love the rhymes. 1 step sis, 3 step bros, 2 step moms, and a prize-winning rose. A robot butler to serve you tea. Who knows? Maybe that'll be the future, right? The world's biggest grandpa, or whatever it might be. If you love each other, then you are a family. If you love each other, then you are a family. And that's the emphasis, of course, for Monkey and Duckling. What a lovely positive statement. I keep saying this, of course, every time I say it, I think I'm being political. I'm trying to stay out of politics on these videos. But I have recently heard how some rights have been denied to people for various reasons, like, well, you're not a married couple. And in my opinion, that is, we have separation of church and state. We have separation of church and state. So if you view a married heterosexual couple as being of more value in our society than a non-married couple or a gay couple, that's your prerogative. And I certainly am not trying to change your center in these videos, but I am emphasizing, and I hope this is what you emphasize with your students, is to respect everyone. We respect other people. Excuse me, and we mind our rights, and we mind other people's rights. So we have separation of church and state. Anyway, I wanted to share some experiences that I had teaching at the high school level. So I taught mostly elementary school, 3 years junior high, 3 years high school, 2 years SDC in the Bay Area as a special day class, and 1 year as a resource teacher in the Central Valley. Excuse me, terrible. Before I talk about this one high school in the Central Valley, I want to explain the environment. So in the Bay Area, you have various political ideologies from liberal to conservative, but mostly, in my opinion, it's more on the liberal side. So when Mr. Donald Trump, didn't win the 2020 presidency, there were people, and I'm in the Bay Area right now, there were people literally dancing in the street. There were like groups of people, formations. There's this one roundabout. In the middle of the roundabout were about 30 people, with noisemakers, drums, boom, 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 signs, celebrating. And they were there for hours. And I don't exaggerate, it's not hyperbole. Right across the street, right here where I live, they blocked off the street. The neighbors brought out like this DJ sound system, and they were dancing in the street. Cars were honking, celebrating for hours. And then in the Central Valley, when I lived in the Central Valley for about 20 years, then I met my husband in the Bay Area. Now I go back and forth. I have a place to stay in both places. In the Central Valley, between 2020, when Donald Trump lost the presidency, he lost the election, and then 2024, when he was voted back into office, a lot of people never took down their signs. They're so pro-Trump. So I'm just trying to give you the juxtaposition, the differences in climates in the Bay Area versus the Central Valley. During COVID, I couldn't walk out of my apartment without a mask. If I did, the lady walking her dog with her mask on would say, "Hey, where's your mask? You're endangering my life." And then fast forward, go to the Bay Area, go to the Central Valley, same season, and nobody was wearing a mask. And you would feel odd wearing a mask, wear a mask into the store, and there were the grocery clerks with no masks on. So quite a difference. So here I was teaching in the Central Valley. Now I also want to say, I still go to the Central Valley. I have a gym membership recently, and I'm not trying to scariate the gym. This is just an example of the environment. On the news, on the 20 TVs, there's only Fox News on a TV screen. And I said, "Excuse me, can we put, I like to have a balance. Do you think we could put CNN on one screen and MSNBC on another," or something like that? And then keep Fox News up. I just want to hear both sides. And the clerk said, "Oh, we can't do that. I'm sorry. People will complain." So I just give you an idea of the climate of the Central Valley. It was in the paper recently. I think her name's Sharon. And I shouldn't say her last name, protect her anonymity, but I know her. I went to church with her. She recently was in the paper. She was saying she was researching this city in the Central Valley and found that they were redlining, like in the 50s. They were redlining. They were putting barriers in front of people of color so they wouldn't buy property in certain of the parts of their city. So a lot of racial prejudices and a lot of bigotry, small-mindedness. that has been there and maybe still there. So anyway, and I'm not trying to insult those areas. I'm just trying, there's quite a difference in cultures. And there was probably some of that in the Bay Area as well. It's discrimination toward blacks. But anyway, hope we're not getting too far off the topic. So anyway, teaching at the Central Valley High School, and the County Pride Center had come to a staff meeting to laud and acknowledge the good things the school was doing for LGBT people, and they were doing good things. We had this. I only taught there 1 year, but there was 2 staff members who were out of the closet lesbian ladies, and they were having training for staff. Not while I was there, but the year before, I'd heard that they had people were bragging about what a good job they did on training and sensitivity toward LGBT students. They had a brand new, and I was there, non-binary, which means you don't really identify strongly with either gender, non-binary librarian, and they were bringing in a lot of LGBT books. They were presenting at the staff meetings about pronouns and the changes in the library. So there were a lot of good things going on at the school. So my point, though, is here's the gold standard of the Central Valley, and here's a gay teacher come in. And it was only a few months. I started noticing cracks, metaphoric cracks in their foundation, and I ended up, and I sound like a prude, but I was talking to the staff member. They said, do you mind if I want to tell so-and-so at the district office. And then the person at the district office called me, and they said, I'm asking you to file a complaint. I don't know if they wanted to see changes, or maybe they had not a vendetta, but I think they might have not had confidence in the administrator there. That might have been the reason. I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, they asked me to put everything in writing. Well, here were the 4 things I had with that, and I begin hopes that an administrator, even someone in the county office of education, hears this and realizes there are problems in our California schools regarding discrimination against LGBT. So here are the 4. One of the first things is I was on my adjunct duties. You have to sign up for extra duties. So many hours per year. I volunteered to collect money at the ticket booths during a football game. I did 3 of them. And I tallied how many times I heard kids calling other kids faggot. It was 11. That's quite a few times. And I just think of the LGBT kids that have to hear that and how it demeans them. And as a staff, what's the application and the implications for you if you're teaching high school? You be speaking up. Say, hey, we don't do that here, man. We're better than that. We respect everyone. We don't want bigotry here. Come on, man. That was one. Another one was, I think I mentioned this in another video. I was a resource teacher. I wrote IEPs. And on the IEPs, there was a section to talk about developmental levels, cognitive and gross fine motor, communication, social, academic, things like that. So anyway, the teacher before me, because I would get their old documents and have to update them, she had written that this LGBT out gay senior had maladaptive social skills because he hung out with mostly girls. And that is it's not okay to say a gay teen is not abnormal, that they're abnormal because they're hanging out with girls. That's what I did. When I came out of the closet twice, high school, and then went back in 40s, my brother said, did you notice I wasn't surprised when you came out? Because you hung out mostly with girls growing up. So anyway, that was another one. The third issue I had is I noticed the lady I was working with was transferred to another position. And I asked the administrator, what happened? He said, well, I said she wasn't comfortable working with a gay teacher. What? Come on. Here's a good standard. Compare LGBT people to other minority groups and treat us with the same kind of respect. And that's that's the standard you should use for discrimination. So if a teacher is a racial minority or a religious minority, would you allow a staff member to come to you and say something like, I don't work with black people, or I don't work with brown people? And would you transfer them? Would you accommodate them? I hope not. I hope you would say, well, we don't tolerate racism. We don't tolerate bigotry. We don't tolerate, intolerance toward LGBT people. There's the door. You don't like it? there's the door. There's the unemployment line. But anyway, they accommodated. So anyway, that was a problem I had. And then the last problem I had was I had a 10th grader girl in my study skills class. She came to me and they had a 2-minute speech assignment just to kind of warm up the beginning of the year. I said, you can talk 2 minutes on anything you want. She came to me, she said, may I talk about how I feel society has negative views of lesbian and gay people? I just want to talk about it. I said, sure. So 2 weeks came and went, it was her turn. She got up, she talked about why she likes cherry cake over chocolate cake, which was fine. That's her prerogative. But I asked her later, very carefully, not to make her feel bad, I said, I'm just curious. I noticed you changed your topics. What happened? She said, well, that lady, and she was talking about the new administrative assistant. She said, that lady came to me and said that I shouldn't talk about LGBT issues, that it would make people feel uncomfortable, and that I would probably get harassed for it.